Elias Pettersson and the Vancouver Canucks are close to a massive contract extension.
I'm waiting for the Canucks to tweet that we've agreed to an extension. Then I'm gonna fully believe
for
it.
Sure.
Because every top media member or insider has gotten stuff wrong. I'm not saying they lied, they have gotten stuff wrong.
We react to the Dallas Stars trading for Chris Tanev. You have a shutdown pairing of a Heiskanen and Tanev 100%. When you're winning a playoff game.
This gives me more confidence in my pick of them making the final.
And we talk about the latest NFL franchise tag news.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the B Tier podcast.
We got some breaking NHL news on the PD side, as well as Chris Tanev being traded. But before we get into that, smash the subscribe button for daily sports content. Hit the like button. And we'll start off with Elias Pettersson.
Yeah, I think
we have to because it's our team.
I understand Chris Tanev got traded, but we'll talk about that at length a little bit.
It's our team, man. We don't give a shit.
No, the PD's a bigger name, and we have to talk about it.
No, it's our team.
It's funny because on the way...
If you hate it, sucks to suck because it's our team.
It's funny because on the way back from work, I'm thinking about how all this PD drama unfolded, and which we'll give you an update in a second because of to me going on Twitter, reading that Frank Seravalli tweet. So we'll give you the timeline of events. First, let's start off with the actual news. It is nothing official, nothing crazy. Frank Seravalli of Daily Faceoff has reported that while not yet completed, there is significant progress on a contract extension with Elias Pettersson, and it's not a short-term one, it's an 8-year one, and it could be finalized in the coming days. Now, obviously, Frank Seravalli is a highly touted insider across the NHL. He's the only one that reported on this, so there's no news from Rick Dollywell, who's the Canucks insider. There's no news on by Elliot Friedman, who another big one, right? Darren Dreger, so on and so forth. So we'll talk about the extension maybe when it comes official. If it might be breaking today, for all we know. It could be. We'll drop a separate video if it happens in between or both podcasts, whatever the case may be.
8-year, $96 million contract.
Which was the rumor, but that's supposedly not true. But let's talk about all the drama first that's happened over the weekend between pretty much the media, the Canucks media, national media, among the fans, or Canucks Twitter.
Let's just say.
This is where you needed to be on Canucks Twitter.
Let's just say this. There was beef.
Yeah.
There was beef, right? So are we media or are we fans? Because
listen, Canucks media are also fans. You gotta think
that's
about it
true too,
right?
Yeah. But
no, I would say we're both. Obviously, we're media for sure because we're doing this. We're just aspiring to be media. I guess that's the best way to put it. We're also two fans talking about this because we would be talking about this if we were not Canucks fans. Or if this was another name like Kachuk from a couple of years ago, right? So this is a Kachuk situation all over again. But let's talk about what was I gonna say, and then I'll get your reaction to what I was gonna say. Let's talk about that, how it all happened. Timeline of events. Hockey Night in Canada. Elliot Friedman, like I mentioned, one of the biggest insiders in NHL, reportedly said teams are calling on Elias Pettersson because of all this situation. Now let's talk about that part first. Teams calling on Elias Pettersson. Obviously, Canucks said no, they're not trading him. They're looking to sign him, which has been reported. They've been trying to do that. There's also been reports that have been frustrated because PD himself, again, everybody is right in this case, has the right to be upset, has a right to say what they have said because they're all right in this case.
They all
PD
are right.
is right, has a right that he wants to negotiate in the offseason. That's a fact, right? We discussed this a couple of months ago when we dropped the Canucks video, the 10,000 one that hit 10,000, not the one that hit 10,000, but the one right after that we said we talked about PD's contract properly. You guys could check that out. It's under our popular video tabs because it is actually one of our popular videos.
Yeah.
But no, going back to the situation, so he has every right to negotiate in the offseason, like he said, and he stayed true by that word for now. The Canucks have every right to be upset because they want to negotiate because they want to figure out the trade deadline plans and all that stuff. Again, stuff we've already said in that video. And the one thing we did not say in that video, this current regime is not the one that signed him to that contract. So they want to obviously figure out, it's not like, I would understand if this was Jim Benning, that would be like, okay, well, Jim Benning, you effed it up. I understand Rutherford and Alvin's perspective of like, listen, we did not sign you to the contract. We want to figure something out with you, right? Long-term, short-term, whatever. So they have that right. The Canucks fans have a right to be whatever reaction they want, whether listen to PD, whether be against PD. Elias Pettersson has been a 50-50 split amongst the fan base. We'll talk about that in a second. The media has a right to report on what has been reported, right? That's their job. I don't agree with the fans saying that the media, Canucks media, national media, saying, well, leave him alone. He's going to be the reason why you're going to be the reason why he's not going to resign. Maybe that's true. But if the only reason why Elias Pettersson is not going to sign with the Canucks is because the national media are talking about a contract when he said he's going to negotiate in the offseason, that's more on Elias Pettersson than it is on the fan base and the Canucks media.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? So, going back to Elliot Friedman trade, I guess, conversations, it was confirmed by other insiders, I think Pierre LeBrun, Darren Dreger, so on and so forth, Frank Saravelli as well. The reason is, and I agree with the other teams, you do your due diligence. Yes, we know as Canucks fans, and many people around the league, I'm sure GMs across the league know that the Canucks are first by points, total points in the league right now. They're the best team in the West at the moment. They're probably not trading him. We'll get that straight because they're literally...
Okay, there's no probably. It's not happening.
Yeah, I'm saying they're...
Yeah.
No, I'm speaking on terms of the other GMs.
Yeah,
they're probably
you make
not
a call,
him.
you try, right? It's not going to happen.
So, anyways, going back to the thing, they're probably not going to trade him is what they're thinking, but they're going to do their due diligence because let's just hypothetically say that 1%, less than a percent chance does happen. You don't want your ownership to be mad at you of saying, like, where was this, right? Like, how do we not know about this? And so team knew about this. For example, Filip Hronek. No one knew he was getting traded, I think. But the Canucks somehow got him. I'm sure there were other GM owners, because right shot defensemen are scarce in the league, that are probably like, why did you not call Detroit then? How did the Canucks know about this, right? Again, I don't know how many teams were in on Hronek. I'm just saying that's kind of a comparison of an example you kind of have here. So the owner or the front offices across the league need to do their due diligence because hypothetically the Canucks may have gotten an answer. We don't know that, right? The other side is PD speculation wise, PD side says they didn't leak any of them because there was a leak, like you mentioned, 8x12 contract, which is $96 million. PD said we didn't do that. Canucks said they didn't do that. It was speculated that other teams, aka these trade rumors, were the reason why the trade talk or the extension talks. PD's not frustrated. The Canucks are frustrated that PD is not talking extension because guess what? Other teams will call Elliot Friedman like, hey, we sent an offer to the Canucks. Report on it. Right? So it doesn't mean that the Canucks leaked it. It doesn't mean that the PD side, PD's agent, PD's team leaked it. It could be literally that. Because it's the NHL. It's about mind games and you use the media. So those fans that say that the media are a ploy, and I'm not defending media here because there's sometimes the media that's stupid as hell, right? But Elliot Friedman's a highly touted insider. Of course, and if we're going to talk about your team, in this case, it happens to be our team, the Canucks. Like I said, before the Frank Saravelli news dropped, we were going to talk about, oh my God, PD's getting traded. We're going to clickbait it that way. Obviously, plans got changed because of that.
All right, PD's going to sign now.
PD's probably going to sign now, something like that. We're going to talk about it. It's news. That's our job. And honestly, if this was Jim Rutherford's plan of trying to get the media to talk, because people are going at Donnie and Dolly's ass about the poll question they asked after the comeback win against Boston, whose fault will it be if PD doesn't resign, PD or the Canucks? People are like, why are you talking about this? You're going to be the reason why he drives it away. In fact, the total opposite happened because now everybody's talking about it. PD may have grown frustrated. PD's game has taken an effect. Rick Tocchet has come out today and said he's human. He's hearing all this stuff. Yeah, it might not get it might get to him a little bit, but guess what? Maybe Rutherford's plan all along was to force PD into conversation, and therefore we got these.
Plan or no plan, whatever the hell this shit is. At the end of the day, it's a distraction.
Yeah.
Right. Rick Tocchet, like you said, Rick Tocchet said it best. He's human. He's hearing the shit. I said this all year long. I was really impressed that PD was playing well. I'll be honest with you. I didn't expect PD to have a good season. Or at least the same level as last year. Because the last time PD had contract on his mind or didn't have a contract, was the training camp and he shot the bed massively. So I'm impressed with what PD done so far. he is human. He is gonna hear all this shit. So at this point, it might just be best for PD to get it done, right? For the media, fan beef, whatever it is, yeah, it's fair. But the issue is when you're the best player in the Vancouver market, a Canadian market, right? When you would regard it as the best player in the Vancouver market, right? When you're regarded as going or projected to be the highest paid player in the Vancouver market,
that's better words, yeah.
You're gonna get talked about.
Yeah.
Like it or not, captain or not, you're gonna get talked about, and you're gonna have to deal with it, right? So none of this hiding from the media bullshit, none of this shit that Shohei Ohtani tried to do, is not gonna work because you're just a big name. You're just that guy.
Yeah.
You gotta be that guy, right? And as simple as that, right? Canucks could go frustrated as long as they want. If PD doesn't want to sign because the media is talking to him, go play in Columbus. Go to Johnny Gaudreau.
You're addressing the fans.
Go to Johnny Gaudreau, who nobody has heard of in the last 2 years because he's in Columbus.
You're addressing the fans in this case, not PD, right? Because I'm addressing the fans because it's more on the fans side of thing, not PD.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying if PD wants that, if PD's saying that, if that's PD's reason though, I don't give a shit. I don't care.
So that's where we're speculating. That's
yeah, no, but I'm just saying it's the same thing, right?
Listen,
like the fans are overreacting. The PD thing. If PD has that in his head, get that shit out of your head because it's BS.
Yeah,
right.
Again, we don't know. We're speculating.
Yeah, but I'm just sharing what I'm sharing. All right, at the end of the day,
because it sounds like you're pissed at PD. That's the
I'm just pissed that, like, you know, if that is the case, it shouldn't be the case.
It's not the case.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying if that's ever a scenario, because it's clearly became a scenario, right? People are bringing it up. That PD doesn't like the media doing this. The fans are saying the media doesn't be a reason why. People are bringing it up, right? Again, and we're addressing this. If PD wants to be in Vancouver, right? He'll be in Vancouver.
So there's, like I said, there's two sides of the thing. We don't know what PD's thinking. PD has said it on After Hours. He loves Vancouver. He wants to be part of a winning team. Sure, he could be lying. For all we know, he could be lying about that. The thing we're saying here is that the media is a ploy, right? This sports business is outside of the teams themselves. The media members, fans, whatever, it's all opinion and speculation until the facts come out.
The thing is this:
we have to go based on reporting, right?
The final,
as media members,
my point, like my conclusion to what I said is that when you're that guy, you can't avoid it. Yeah, you simply can't avoid it. You're gonna get talked about.
Honestly,
you're playing like shit. You're gonna get talked about. You're playing good. You can get talked about. You have a contract. You're gonna get talked about. You don't have a contract. You're gonna get talked about.
The fact that he had this contract thing and it wasn't mentioned a lot. It was as much as I thought it was gonna be. It was both sides respected it. I guess the leaks that were happening were that the Canucks, obviously the trade side, again, teams are gonna do their due diligence. The Canucks, Jim Rutherford maybe used that as a thing that they're frustrated to get him to come to the conversation, because I think Farhan Lalji and Rick Dhaliwal have reported that it's not the agents that are saying hold up like we think Scott Boras in baseball is doing. Yeah. Right, with the whole Blake Snell situation. It's PD himself saying I want to do it. That might have been different from 2020 when he had this conversation, because the reason why I wasn't surprised he's playing well is because he said it himself, I'm going to wait till the offseason to do it. But then he's still producing.
At the end of the day, we're going to talk about it.
Exactly. And that's where my point is, he's still producing.
Yeah.
Right? In his head, he knows what he's probably doing. He's not an idiot. People assume that these athletes are idiots. They're not.
Yeah, they're not. Like,
right? They know what to do. They know how to get leverage themselves and plan on certain things. Now, I'm surprised it's an 8-year. I thought it was going to be like a 3-4 year deal. If it is 8 years, that's what surprises me.
I'm not really surprised.
Because
I'm not surprised by any year. Because I expected anything for the year. Because
all the reports were 4 years. That's why. Yeah. Matching with Hughes and all that. But yeah, no. Going back to this thing, that's the thing, right? So I was like on Canucks Twitter, there was literally 50-50. There was a guy going after Jason Brough saying, "You're gonna be the reason why he's not gonna sign." To that, I'm like, yeah, you're an idiot. Like, yes, we could speculate if PD doesn't want to sign here because of that. If he doesn't really want to sign, these reports would not came out. Now, we don't know how true they are. I'm the type of guy now, especially after the Shohei situation, and even that I wasn't too high on as much as you were. I'm waiting for the Canucks to tweet that we've agreed to an extension. Then I'm gonna fully believe it. Sure. Because every top media member or insider has gotten stuff wrong. I'm not saying they lied. They have gotten stuff wrong, right? So
especially in baseball.
yeah, but no, I'm just saying in general, like people, Fabrizio Romano's got stuff wrong, and he's like the biggest soccer guy for transfers there is, right? The point is though that before we talk about like how the Canucks are gonna be with the contract, and we don't even know what the contract is, so that's why we're kind of speculating. Because what I was gonna bring up was all these certain things I saw. Now this is where I disagree with like what national media. I understand they have contacts in teams, but stuff saying like not money related, but locker room related. So guess whose name is gonna be brought up for speculation? He's beefing JT Miller.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
What happened with the Bo Horvat JT Miller situation? So it's like that's where I'm like, okay, that you're going over the top. Other teams asking, that was reported, is supposedly true. Again, we will never know. No one's gonna know anything of the sports business unless those people involved directly come out and do a recording and have said it themselves, right?
But yeah, that's how it is. But at the end of the day, you know, everyone's doing their jobs. Fans are being fans. Media's being media. Front office being front
and
office.
No one's wrong.
And PD's being PD. Nobody's wrong.
Nobody's wrong.
But nobody's also to blame at the same time.
Yeah.
So
everybody has a right to do.
So
what
if
they
you're thinking
want.
about commenting, saying that us two are the reason why PD's
like
not going to sign,
you did in the last video,
right? Like you did in the last video, stop, because number one,
he's not watching this.
PD's not going to watch this video
because we're not that big.
Unless you guys subscribe and like and like get this video viral. Number two, it shouldn't be a reason at the end of the day.
Yeah,
it shouldn't
but
be a
like
reason.
going back to the PD thing, let's just hypothetically say all that's true. Yeah, he could have left during free agency. He could have pulled off a Kachuk, be like, I don't want to stay here. The media's too big for him. That's his right to leave if he wants to.
Yeah, then he's
as fans, we have a right to boo if that's the case.
Yeah.
But again, we should not be speculating heavily of like the JT Miller drama.
Oh yeah, that's
all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's like different. I'm talking about as a collective fan base here, media wise or not media wise. Again, media is always gonna speculate. We're gonna speculate. There's always stuff that we speculate that could come true. AKA Brian Windhorst and that meme about the Utah Jazz of where he was wondering all that stuff.
Yeah.
Guess who got it right?
Yeah.
Brian Windhorst. Because
Exactly.
those two guys ended up getting traded out of Utah. So, yeah. So right now, it's we're going to go on the fact that what Frank Saravelli is saying is true. Again, it's not confirmed by anybody. I think Satyar Shah went out to reach out to Canucks and said that they're not going to comment about any of this situation. And yeah, so maybe PD, he's like, you know what, let's just get this over with. I want to stay here. Let's do this. Because again, other speculation is maybe he's doesn't have a good relationship with the coach because how coach talks to the media.
Let's just stop.
There's always going to be speculation.
The amount of times we said speculation this rate,
yeah,
is.
But we got to talk about it.
Yeah, just the amount of time we said speculation, it just seems like
Let's
we're
talk
dumbasses.
about the contract
We're
potential.
dumbasses that don't have any other words
Let's talk
in the
about the team and
vocabulary.
the fit. Let's talk about the team and the fit very quickly here.
Team and the fit. All right. Whatever PD gets, you shouldn't be really upset about it because one,
I'm projecting at least 12 million if it's 8 years.
it's fine, right? Like at the end of the day, PD's gonna have back-to-back years where he's gonna get 100 points. They don't grow on trees.
Yeah.
You have to draft right. You can't get him in free agency. The only way you get him is trading for him, and that's rare because
The only way
you have to
free
wait.
agency-
You have to wait till them to be in their last year of the contract.
Johnny Gaudreau is like the only rare exception that happened.
Yeah.
In hindsight, it did not work out. I'm
Yeah,
saying
but
at
like
that time.
at the end of the day, like Gaudreau was hella inconsistent as well.
Yeah.
Like
PD is himself slightly.
PD is himself, but at the end of the day, I don't think Gaudreau had like back-to-back years
Question
where
for
he's
you
just
is
good.
this. Question for you is this. Strictly from a fan base, and put your analyst hat on if you want. Is he a franchise player that you could win a cup with? Like, is he on the same tier as those other guys that have won cups before or close to winning cups?
I mean, I would say yes, just because, you know, he came in his rookie year and turned shit around, right? He did that again in his second year. He did well in the bubble playoffs, right? Obviously, then he shot the bed after that, right? Like 2 years in a row, he wasn't good. Was it his fault? Yes, somewhat. But there was also roster construction. There was injuries. It was just the team around him was shit, right? You finally have a decent squad around him, right? You still have your core players, you know, Miller, Hughes, Demko, Besser. They're all playing good at the same time. That was the biggest issue, right? PD can't be the guy. Reason being, we can't definitively say yes, or we can't even definitively say no, because we haven't seen him the opportunity for him to do it as a full squad, right? Like back then in the Vegas series, you had freaking Antoine Roussel and like Louis Erickson, whatever. Now you have like, you know, Teddy Bluger, Dakota Joshua, and like Connor Garland be that third line. There's a big difference.
Yeah, so like
there's a chance this year. He's never had that chance, so we can't say yes, but we can't say no. But from what he's shown in his Canucks career, we have to pay him like that because at the end of the day, what he has done, nobody else. There's very few people in the league that could do that.
Yeah, and to the point here, I'm looking at some quotes that are now coming out of like by Saravelli and stuff that are being said. Back to the Miller situation, not everybody's gonna be friends. They've admitted it before. Irf and Gafar said you don't need to be friends. Everyone doesn't need to like each other to win a cup. We know that. So get that out of the head. I'm sure they're fine, right? Sat said he tried to confirm with Pettersson's situation, but all he got from speaking with people from the team is they aren't commenting on Pettersson right now. So again, like I said, until I see more people talk about this, I'm not fully believing it. As much as I'm still giving respect to Frank Saravelli, he could be 100% right. He was right about Mikheyev tearing his ACL, where everybody's like, "Oh, he's playing, you're lying," and it turns out he was playing on a torn ACL, right? So, yeah. So like let's see how that goes. But in terms of the team, so the question is he a 8x12 player, right? And Talkett himself, like based on iMac tweeting here, saying iMac being Ian McIntyre. I know we're not that close for me to say iMac, but literally just saying that he could be better, right? Lately, especially like he hasn't been what he was in that New York road trip, where he was the player of the month, right, or one of the stars of the month. Like what JT Miller is doing right now is what PD did a couple of months ago. And JT Miller has been on a tear recently.
He's been on a tear. PD had a good game against Pittsburgh. He was very noticeable.
He was okay.
He was good. Obviously, did he score a point? No, but like...
No, he got a point.
He did, right?
Yeah.
But he was dangerous against Pittsburgh. He was good against Pittsburgh. Huh?
He got 2 points.
Exactly. So how was he okay then?
No, they're saying... No, because, again, you're stat watching.
I'm not stat watching. Bro, I watched the game.
I'm listening.
I saw PD create so many...
I thought he was...
Like, I saw PD create chances and be dangerous.
The third goal was on him, his line, essentially, including himself.
Well, that could be defensively, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the whole game that way.
Yeah.
Offensively, he's producing the numbers where no one's going to deny the numbers.
Yeah, but like he hasn't been, though.
We're saying okay.
Until this Pittsburgh game.
Yeah.
He hasn't been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying okay because I'm again, a little bit of me is listening to the
exactly.
The analyst side of things.
My own observation.
But I agree with my observation was the beginning of the game was great. Near the end of the game, not so much, right? So, but back to the point, he hasn't been great as of late. Again, it could be because of this. It literally could be because of this because this speculations are coming out of nowhere. But yeah, but to the point, 8x12, can he be the guy to win a championship with as the number one center?
We don't know.
I believe because again, the bubble, you could look at it
but that's the only evidence we have.
That's the only thing. You cannot include the bubble 100%, but you cannot exclude the bubble 100% either.
So
you have to give it 50-50.
We don't know.
You still have to give it a 50 because at the end of the day, it's still a playoff atmosphere where hockey was mainly played. Yes, there was no crowds as a factor, but it was still best on best hockey amongst those teams that were in there, right? And him, Miller, Hughes, Demko, Markstrom at the time, but like the currently guys on the Canucks performed, including Bo Horvat at the time as well too. But yeah, so it's gonna be tough. We have to see it. If it is true, again, we'll talk more about this when it is official. If it does get official, we'll talk about it. If it doesn't get official, yeah.
But yeah, so let's move on. Just because we got a big trade to talk about as well. We could talk about PD all day, don't get me wrong. But we got the rest of the pod to record. So Chris Tanev is heading to the Dallas Stars for 2 picks and a prospect. Flames got rid of Tanev. No surprise there. Flames is obviously, we'll quickly talk about the Flames quickly. We mentioned them so many times. They're going to be sellers. They're going to sell. They've already sold 3 players.
It's funny because they're 5 points out of a playoff spot right now.
Yeah, and they could still get rid of Hanifin and a Markstrom as well. So Flames did what they're supposed to do. Can't really say much about that. They're in a tough spot, and they're doing the job. Dallas getting Chris Tanev.
That's the big one.
That's the big thing.
Listen, I'm happy it's not Edmonton, and I'm more happy. I'm more happy it's not Edmonton, and I'm happy that it's not Toronto.
Yeah, so Dallas is a great move. Reason 1. Dallas, in current lineup, Dallas only had 1 right shot defenseman in. Nils Lundqvist is injured. I think it's Hawk and Pau who's their only right shot defenseman. They and Chris Tanev.
Listen, whatever they were doing, they're playing well. They're quietly
Tanev's not going to harm
contender.
That. There's no way.
And Tanev's going to propel you.
Because the type of player Tanev is, there's no way he's going to bring it
2
down.
2 things. Not even just to play.
Yeah.
Off-ice leadership.
Off-ice leadership as well, right? Like, he could play with Heiskanen, right? If you think Heiskanen is fine on his own, he could play with a.
He might be on his own because Heiskanen is a very good defender
Yeah,
himself.
yeah,
Defensive.
Yeah.
Defensive.
But like you have a shutdown pairing of a Heiskanen and Tanev when you're
100%.
winning a playoff game.
This gives me more confidence in my pick of them making the final.
Same. I had him too,
Yeah.
right? Like their defense, yes, was great, but then it was like Heiskanen and a bunch of decent guys after.
There's another factor in this
Like
trade.
Tanev coming into this team is the second or third best defenseman instantly.
There's another factor in this. The Devils are involved. They're retaining some percentage, and they got a 4th round pick out of it. Good business by them. People are looking at the Devils as well. Like, are they gonna sell, or are they gonna buy, or just stay put? We'll talk about them in a second. Let's go back to Tanev. Tanev and the Stars. Yeah. It's weird seeing him out of Canada because I've always seen him in
That's
Canada.
true, yeah.
No, it's not like it was like Sean Manahan where he went with multiple teams in Canada, and he's a free agent, so he could come back to Canada. The Canucks links are always gonna be there. But listen, off-ice leadership is a big factor why the guy is going to play his heart out for whatever team he's on. The guy is going to be loved by all his teammates. The Canucks players still to this day. I think Brock Besser was recently on a podcast saying he is the reason why. Benning fucked the hell up that situation. I don't care. And he's figured out he's not as injured as he once was. Right? He's figured out his equipment stuff.
Yeah.
He's still blocking shots. Yes, he'll get hurt because he's going to block shots.
At 34 as well.
Yeah, so Dallas has got a great one. I don't know what Dallas's weaknesses are. Again, they're a boring team, unfortunately.
I mean, defensive depth could be a weakness.
We don't know.
Depth.
But
I would just say depth in general.
Depth.
Yeah.
Just add more depth and you'll be fine because, listen, Dallas is just that team that they're going to be good. You just don't watch them because they're probably boring when they're on unless they're playing your favorite team. But listen, this just propels them to be a contender. They only gave up a 2nd round pick and a conditional 3rd. Like I said, they're only retaining. They're only paying him 25% because combined Calgary and New Jersey are doing 75. I think it's 50 Calgary, 25 New Jersey.
But yeah, like Score just gave out the grades right now. I'll just mention it right now.
I was looking at that.
A+ for the Stars.
Yeah,
I would say the same thing. And then Calgary got a D, I guess.
I disagree with the D.
I think it's a C, just because C, I just feel like you got to do what you got to do. So that's a C grade.
I guess they're looking on the side of Elias Lindholm trade because they did well in that one.
Yeah, no, but yeah, that's true. That could be fair. But I feel like a C grade is just like you got to do what you got to do. And that's what I feel like Calgary did. So I feel like a C is a little bit better grade.
I'll give it like a C minus.
Yeah, C. I'll say C. Yeah, I think C.
But no, because Calgary had no choice. And listen, all credit to them. I don't know who the guy they got is and how good he's going to be. I think he's a defensive prospect. Another one they added with Hunter Brustevich.
Yeah.
But they have a extra second round pick this year. Either an extra or if they didn't have one, they have one now. So yeah, let's see.
So according to Daily Face-Off defense projections, right now it's Ben Heiskanen and Thomas Harley.
Don't break that up then.
They're not. I don't think they're gonna break it up. They have Suter and Hakanpää as the 3rd pairing. They have Tanev plugged in the 2nd pairing, plugged in with Esa Lindell, which kind of makes sense too. If you believe can do his own thing, which
he can. 100%.
Well, he can, right?
100%.
Esa Lindell is pretty decent, and then obviously you add in Tanev, make that a solid pairing. Yeah. Then you have two solid pairings right there.
He's definitely like that middle 4 defenseman, right?
Middle 4. There's no middle 4.
like 2, 3, 4, 5 range is what I meant to say out of the 6.
Yeah,
that's how they say it.
It's a middle 4 or it's be like bottom
because
4?
Like he's not gonna be a guy to drive his own line. So
he's not gonna. Yeah, you gotta partner him
with
yeah.
someone.
So I feel like Esa Lindell and Chris Tanev partnered together could be.
Listen, he was with
bring the best
Anderson,
out of both.
He was with Quinn Hughes. He was with Noah Hannafin.
Should be able to bring the best with both of them.
So yeah, Dallas just propelled, in my opinion. Let's see what else they do. Let's talk about Calgary very quickly. They have other pieces. Greg Wyshynski. Check out his article on the top 50. In his opinion, big name trade targets. Number 1 is obviously Jake Gensel. He did it based on type of player who he believes will probably be available.
And not like availability.
Not availability status. So he had Tanev in the top 10, I believe. I forget where. He had Hannafin, I think, 2 or 3. So Hannafin, is he getting traded? I think yes.
No, I think at this rate,
point, yes. You're
at this rate, if you don't have a contract figured out,
you have to.
You have to, right? And if he's UFA or is he RFA?
I think UFA.
I don't know. But if it's UFA, you gotta get it done. If it's RFA, you could survive. But
even then, you're not gonna get the best thing.
you gotta get it done because at this rate, like, because there were clear reports saying that, like, you're trying to work out a contract extension. You haven't gotten done.
There was something close. Then either you pulled back or Calgary pulled back. But no, trade him.
You gotta.
So there's that, and the other big name, Jacob Markstrom. If you believe he gets traded, he has term left.
I mean, it's gonna be a desperate team that's trying to trade from, aka like the Devils,
the Kings. Right now, the Kings.
Yeah,
as well.
the
Devils right now are out of a playoff spot, so they could afford to wait till the off season if they want. Because I'm going to talk about the Devils in a second.
I'm assuming the Devils want to make a push.
Yeah.
Markstrom's going to help you make a push. Devils have to be in every bit of the conversation.
I'm just saying
if Markstrom is available.
I'm just saying Kings are more desperate.
They're both equally desperate.
I'm saying Kings are more desperate.
I would say Devils more desperate because they're outside looking in. The Kings still have a shot in there.
Greg Wyshynski, I listened to him this morning. He's a fan of the team. He's saying that they just might stay put. Do not oversell like other teams might. The Kings are in a playoff spot right now and struggling at the moment.
So that just shows the disappointment of the Devils then, right?
So they might
like at the end of
Devils can afford to win the offseason, in my opinion.
You're desperate when your expectations are so high and you haven't done anything this year. That's a team that's desperate. That's a desperate team.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Right.
But we don't know if they're punting on the season or not because of injuries. If Jack Hughes is still playing injured or is injured, he sure is injured or still playing injured. Dougie Hamilton ain't back yet. You really gonna give up all those assets and you might still miss the playoffs, right? Because Dougie Hamilton going down is the main reason why as good as Simon Nemec has been and as good as Luke Hughes has been, Dougie Hamilton going out is the reason why they have been struggling a lot more recently. Of course, Jack Hughes is not 100%. I don't even know if he's back yet. If he is, he's not 100%. So because of that reason.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, Kings and Devils, first teams that come to mind. Yeah. Obviously.
But do you expect Markstrom to get traded though?
I don't think it's gonna happen. I just don't. I don't know. I don't think they're Kings or Devils or Hurricanes. I don't think Hurricanes need him now. Who else? He's not going to Edmonton.
Edmonton and Toronto.
He's not going to get Toronto. I don't think they're gonna. I feel like it doesn't be. Calgary's gonna ask for a lot. That's what I feel like, and I don't think those guys are gonna fall for the trap.
Yeah. Okay, so going back to the Devils, I want to say very quickly, there's obviously the name Jake Gensel out there. Canucks are still heavily linked to him. A name that was brought up, I don't know if his name was in the top 50 list. You guys could check it out on ESPN.com's NHL, and you'll see the trade 50. We're not trying to spoil everything. I don't know if I saw this name though. I know. Last time we talked about Anthony Duclair when the Score dropped their article. Tyler Toffoli. I think he's in the last year of his deal. This is what I mean. If the Devils are punting on the season, you might call the Devils, link him back up with Petey. Elias Pettersson, like I said many times before, going back to Petey very quickly. Yes, I believe he's a franchise player, but you cannot line him up with Ilya Mikheyev, and we saw what Mikheyev looked like yesterday. Missing chance after chance.
Too many,
right? Give him a lethal goal scorer. Like, Toffoli's probably on the same level as Zach Hyman is right now. You could say. Hyman scored 40. And I get it. You're playing with McDavid. You go make anyone look good. But I'm just saying, give him a proven goal scorer, which Toffoli has been. Pair him and Höglander together. Boom.
Yeah,
right?
You could be set,
I'm not saying just for the Canucks. I'm saying it could be the Oilers. It could be any other team that's looking for a scoring punch. Tyler Toffoli could potentially be available.
At this rate, it's clear that the Canucks need another winger. Yeah. It's very clear. Especially if you're going to separate the three centermen with the Lindholm, Miller, and Petey.
Yeah, but if
you gotta have wingers. You gotta have wingers.
And then if Joshua comes back, do you break that third line up? That means Lindholm's like your 4C, right? And then Baines might end up going down because, like, listen, at the end of the day, he belongs in the NHL. Archie Baines, though, it's still his rookie. He's still a rookie games, like literally less single-digit games.
4 games.
Right? He looks like he belongs, but again, teams are now probably gonna make notes on him, and he will probably hit that rookie wall eventually.
Okay, it's very clear.
So you need a winger.
It's very clear why Archie Baines got called up is because Joshua got injured.
Yeah.
Right? So there's no denying that.
And he stayed in because he deserved to stay in.
Yeah, and that's fair. So right now it might be Baines looking out, but at the end of the day, like, we don't know. It could still be Giuseppe. It could still be.
The only reason why I'm saying Baines is because they probably still want him to develop more.
That's true too, yeah.
Because he hasn't hit a rookie wall yet.
It could be a smart decision. Yeah. Decision as well. Decision. I can't. Holy fuck.
But yeah, so going back to that, like, Tyler Toffoli is a good name. I think.
Oh yeah, it's good. If you can't get Gensel, definitely get to Foley. Whoever's in Gensel, like if you can't get Gensel, just get to Foley.
I think it's gonna give Canucks fans PTSD if they do end up trading
Yeah.
for him. But we mentioned the Leafs earlier. Let's talk about the Leafs very quickly. Their 7-game win streak has just snapped against the Vegas Golden Knights, but we got to talk about them a little bit. We were talking about the Morgan Riley suspension and how they might crumble.
And but you got lucky because you have a decent schedule early on.
But not even just that. If you look at their schedule, yes, they beat the teams they're supposed to beat. But again, time you could lose. But they beat the Blues. They beat the Flyers in overtime. That's their only non-regulation win. Ducks, they destroyed. They beat the Blues. They beat the Coyotes. They destroyed the Golden Knights. And then they beat the Avs. Both Avs and Golden Knight games. The Golden Knights twice. They lost again after.
Okay.
So they lost to Golden Knights at home, which is the weird part.
Yeah.
They went to Vegas and destroyed them 7-3. They went to Denver and beat Colorado 4-3. And then they lost to Vegas at home right now. But the point is, I guess originally the plan was to title this the video, or can the Leafs actually win the cup this year? I wasn't going to go that far, but how realistic of a chance are you going to say that they could repeat exactly what they did last year, and if not more?
I'm not very confident.
Still not?
I can't. It's a curse.
Okay.
You can't bet against the curse until the curse has been broken. And they have given us.
Believe in curses, is what
They give us zero evidence that they can perform in the playoffs, or
Last
for more
year,
than
kind of.
they didn't perform in the playoffs.
They got past the first round.
Yeah, that's your Stanley Cup.
No, my point is,
Is
okay. That's what you can say about the Canucks. Then that is a Canucks curse.
there's an expectation for the Leafs. The
Yeah,
Canucks are a
but
completely
I'm just
different
saying
story.
in general, though, I'm not saying okay.
When you're the Dallas Cowboys, how you
Okay,
How-
let me rephrase the question.
how
I'm like, are they gonna replicate this or go further? You gotta admit, getting out of the first round was a big hurdle for them last year.
yeah, we thought that for the Cowboys.
Did you think they were gonna get out of the first round last year?
Well, yeah, because Tampa Bay was the weakest we have seen them be in a long time.
Okay, so then again, my point this year,
Well, you got teams like Florida in the conversation.
I get
you
that.
got you got Boston. You have to play one of them.
You're making it sound like they have zero chance.
I'm not saying they have zero chance, but I'm saying that they have given us zero evidence that they can't get the job done. Do they what evidence did they give you that they will get the job done?
Last year,
You think beating a hampered Tampa Bay team and losing
Tampa
to
Bay. Do you know how many games they had to come back with? Oh, man, you're making me defend the Leafs here. Oh my god.
I'm surprised you're defending the Leafs here.
No, okay. I don't know if we're misunderstanding what we're trying to see here. You're saying, okay, what was my question again?
You're like,
Is this the year?
can they do something this year?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
But so your definition of that is cup.
Yeah, that's what they need. That's what they're built for. You spend freaking like 75% of your cap on like
Okay, I
four
was
guys.
referring to can they replicate what they did exactly last year
Oh, okay, yeah,
and
they
go
in-
maybe a step further to
yeah.
the conference finals this time?
Well, I don't know about conference
Because if
finals.
you're saying curse is blah blah blah, you saw the curse break last year.
Okay, I'm not saying conference finals because at the end of the day, you still have Boston
I
and
know,
Florida.
but again, because you're saying curse.
If they
is
do,
blah, blah,
if they
blah.
replicate what they do last year, yes, they can. But what does that do? Nothing.
Yeah, but
You haven't improved from last year. You haven't done better from last year.
I get that. What was my question? Can they do exactly? Because you know how this year they're saying that they might even just struggle as a wild card team. They're obviously in the playoff spot right now because Tampa Bay is struggling once again. My question wasn't okay. Yeah, my question was, can they finally win the cup this year? I agree with you on that part. They have again only one team wins it. Like I said, we could say it's the same thing about the Canucks, even when they had expectations. But with the Leafs, I'm saying that they did break a curse. So you're slightly wrong on that part because they did break it last year. They got over that hump.
Whatever, they go over a hump. Okay.
This year, do you not?
They lost to 8 seed.
Do
bro.
you not feel confident in a way that they could probably get over the second round? hump
Okay,
if they
like
can?
over the no.
I don't want that to happen. Just to make that clear.
I don't think so.
I'm taking the bias out of it.
I don't think so because they have given us nothing. Like at the end of the day, do you think last year was impressive what they did? Yes, you beat the Lightning. Don't get me wrong. That is impressive. You lost to an 8 seed. You lost to a team that was fighting for the playoff lives and got lucky. Chicago beat.
They're not the only ones.
Yes, I know. It's embarrassing on the Bruins. It's embarrassing on the Carolina front as well.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Leafs are the only thing, but that's not impressive. What they did last year, it's just not. Especially when you're expected to do so much more, and you finally you had a clear path to the conference finals, and you blew it, and you got destroyed. Not just
Yeah.
you weren't in it. You weren't.
I thought Florida was gonna beat them last year. I'm pretty sure I said that.
You did say that,
Yeah.
right? But we can't say what they did last year was impressive.
Yeah.
It's not. It wasn't.
Okay. I don't know if I said impressive. I'm tired. I'm not gonna. Think
I know,
about
but
it that
like,
way.
I don't care whatever word you're trying to say to praise
Yeah.
them. I fully disagree with that because it wasn't good. It wasn't impressive, right? It was the same old Leafs.
So how much of a percent are you giving them a chance to get to the Stanley Cup final this year?
I mean,
Or are you saying 0?
no, I won't say 0 just because at the end of the day, they are a good team,
Yeah.
right? But I still have Florida ahead of them, and I still have Boston ahead of them. That's in their own division.
Yeah. And
Right.
You have the Rangers.
Then you have the Rangers. I still have the Hurricanes because I picked them to go to the final.
Yeah.
So I already have 4 teams ahead of them, off the top of my head.
Okay. So you're saying at the minimum it's gonna be a second round exit once again.
Exactly.
Yeah. No. Okay. That's fair. That's fair. I thought I may have worded it a little bit differently, but yeah. No. The win streak has been impressive. Don't get me wrong.
Like,
Because
they've
Morgan
been good,
Riley
bro.
was out. He was their all-star defenseman.
Bro, like,
right?
They're good. They are good. They just can't get the job done. As
So
simple as that.
you're more in the. You're not projecting.
We don't give a shit what they do
You're
in the
more
regular
like
season
I need to
anymore.
just see the playoffs. I'm not gonna project.
I don't give a
care.
shit what they do in the regular season anymore.
Yeah.
Right? I don't give a shit what the Cowboys do in the regular season. I don't give it. Like, these teams, we don't care what they do in the regular season. We care about what they do in the playoffs. That's all that matters. Especially when you've been there so
you get the
many
same thoughts
times.
about Dallas in the offseason or during the season too. The Cowboys.
Yeah, no, like, they were impressive. Don't get me wrong. Like, they won the division. They did this.
Okay, so
did
wait,
that.
question. Perfect example then. The recent Colorado Avalanche, the year they won the cup, did you have the same mindset? Because they were a team that we thought they were always going to make the Stanley Cup final, always lost in the conference finals at the minimum. Yes, the Leafs finally got out of the first round.
You know,
They're
but the thing with
slightly
Colorado, the
different.
difference with Colorado is they make the playoffs and miss it. They make, they miss, they make, they miss.
No, but the last couple of years they made it and they got out of the. It was until after the McCarr draft they constantly made it, and they got out of the first they didn't get to the final.
How many years did the road did they make it, like, in the playoffs?
They won the year they won. I'm gonna go from there. The year they won.
I know the bubble they disappointed. Don't get me wrong. They
I think it
shouldn't
was
have lost to
the year
Dallas.
before the bubble, and then the year they won.
So 3 years in a row.
3 to 4 years in a row for sure.
Yeah, no, but I feel like each year they progressed, right? Like,
Yeah.
the first year they could have been like second rounded, then they lost in the conference finals to Dallas.
Back to back.
Then the next
years,
year,
maybe? But I don't
then
know.
the next year they.
No, because Dallas was it was Dallas Vegas in the bubble.
Oh yeah, so it was second
'Cause the
round. Yeah,
Canucks
it was
played
second round.
Vegas
It was
in the
second round. It was second round.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, but the thing is that we've seen Leafs do it so many years in a row.
Yeah, but my point is it's a very similar thing. Though,
It's
'cause
very
they didn't
similar.
get over the hump either till they finally did.
Yeah.
So this could be the year. And here's the difference. That Colorado team was probably the greatest team
Exactly.
we've seen.
Like, we-
So I know on paper this Leafs team ain't shit to that Colorado team.
they don't touch them.
I'm just saying
at all.
before people go crazy in the comments, I'm just saying that like to the way you were wording it, like I need to see it to believe it. That's what I was referring to.
I didn't feel that way because Colorado was so much better.
Yeah.
They're like.
So
at the
you
end
thought
of-
they were gonna win the cup that year, or at least Stanley Cup final?
Oh,
no matter what.
bro, I don't think I think the whole freaking
Yeah, I
NHL
know.
community said it was gonna be Tampa Bay, Colorado in the final, right?
And Colorado probably winning.
And Colorado destroyed.
Okay.
Let's be honest.
Yeah. So the Leafs side, Leafs fans, I gave you some attention. You're welcome. But yeah, obviously the win streak says something. But to your point, I do agree with almost everything you said. I need to see it to the playoffs.
We don't care.
It's not that we don't care. Like we go. Just
It's good. We give you credit. You
We're
did
taking
good.
the bias aside.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not even. I'm saying this with chest,
Yeah.
right? Like chest. We don't care because you gotta win 4 in a row
Yeah.
or
Not 4 in a row.
4 times out of 7 at least.
4 times in a row for that.
Yeah,
4 series in a row.
exactly. So
Yeah. I think like, am I more confident this year than last year? I don't know. I think I have the same expectations.
It's the
from last
same
year.
thing, bro.
I just have the same.
What-
I think
they haven't
do
really gotten
I
better.
think they'll replicate from last year.
you still have the same defensive issues. You still same goalie issues. Matthews is still. Their forwards are doing what their forwards are supposed to do. So it's the same thing, same story over and over again.
Yeah. Okay, let's close that there. Let's talk about the Winnipeg Jets very quickly. We have to give some attention to because they have season ticket issues. And Gary Bettman went to Winnipeg, which is crazy because people usually don't like to go to Winnipeg, to meet with many different people, season ticket owners, season ticket holders, big businesses, all that, sponsors, etc., etc. Because their owner has come out and said, well, people are not showing up to our game. I don't know how that's a good business idea for you to criticize your customers for not buying tickets, right? Listen, going to a games, right? Doesn't have, it could be big league games, it could be minor league games. We've been to Vancouver Canadian teams 2 years now. It's about the vibe as much as your team winning. No one gives a shit about minor league baseball like that, unless you're a diehard baseball fan, or in our case, we're Jays fans, so we're slightly interested in the prospects. But even us, to the point,
Bro, we don't know anyone.
We don't know if they're gonna make the big leagues.
We don't know
until they finally make the big leagues, right? But we go because we love baseball. I get it. But when we went there, we loved the vibe. They do stuff. We went to firework nights twice. They have other theme nights, right? So I don't know how it is in Winnipeg. The best guy to probably ask is maybe a Jesse Pollock from Bar Down. Again, we don't know him personally, but maybe listen to him what he thinks, as he's a diehard Jets fan. But going back to the topic, I don't know how that's a good idea. But anyways, he went to see how much of it is a concern, because we have obviously the relocation stuff. Utah expressed interest. Now Tillman Fertitta from Houston, who owns the Rockets, expressed interest. Atlanta once again might express interest because of the TNT side of things. So that's why he went to go check. Obviously, before the decision that came out, that he has, okay, long story short, Gary Bettman is still confident, which is fair, because I'm like, if you're not, you're the same guy backing Arizona and they're less than this.
That's true.
Right? But
it's a concern, obviously, like when your team's,
especially you're the only team in that Canadian market.
And like you're
the only team in that market.
There's 7 teams.
And you're Canadian. Is what to say. Like Vancouver's, people talk about it, all this PD stuff, because no offense to the Lions and the Whitecaps, they're the team of Vancouver, right? No one talks about the Kings as much in LA, as much as they're a big market, but they're not a big hockey market, because the Lakers and the Dodgers and other teams take priority before you get to the Kings, right? So whereas in Winnipeg, no one's there but the Bombers, and I'm sure America in general don't care about the Bombers like that. Maybe Winnipeg do.
Hey man, Bombers made 4 Grey Cups in a row.
But they're nothing. I think they should not be compared to the Jets.
Oh yeah, no, Jets should be the team. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a little bit concerning just because your team's been so good. So it might just be like an owner looking at himself in the mirror, because the on-ice product's been incredible.
At least,
like, what can you do to make it better?
So at least when the Canucks were bad, people still wanted to go because they made it entertaining. Now we only went because we got opportunities to go. However, when we went, it was, people enjoyed themselves because they were just drinking and all.
They were chilling, man. They were chilling.
Jason Bruff says at least the vibe was there.
Yeah.
And now it helps when your team is good, because we can't get student rush tickets anymore because of that. And the tickets are gone expensive. Obviously, you want to go to a team. If you're a fan of the sport of that team specifically, you want to go to a winning thing, right? But if you're just there if you're not a good team, you got to find a way to attract casual fans, like the Vancouver Canadians and the other minor league teams do across all sports, right?
Like, as an owner, you got to do your own thing too, right? Because at the end of the day, like, if the on-ice product's been so incredible and you're low on tickets, it's something that you're doing wrong.
Yeah, because there's no reason why your minor league team. I get it. Stadium capacity is a big factor. Arena capacity is a factor, but I'm sure Vancouver Giants games are fun because they make it fun during TV timeouts. Intermissions and all that, because you want to be there, right? That's the point, and that's what they need to do. I don't know what their business plan is or what they do in arena, because we've never been to Winnipeg, let alone a Jets game in Winnipeg, because we've been to a Canucks versus Jets in Vancouver. But I'm just happy that at least Gary Bettman. I would have been more pissed that if Gary Bettman said he's not confident, if that was the report.
That's true, yeah.
Because I'm like, you're the same guy dealing with Arizona right now,
exactly,
and then that should have shown, because people were scared that Winnipeg, who by the way lost their team to Arizona, would lose a team once again. And it'll be funny if they went to Atlanta. But yeah.
That would be crazy.
Okay, that's it for the NHL talk for right now. Make sure you guys, give comments down below what you guys think. We obviously went heavy with a lot of stuff. Trade deadline March 8th, like we said. Hopefully we have some trades to talk about, and trades don't happen and complete before it's all said and done.
It might just be done before.
But let's talk about some soccer. Some big news, especially from the Canadian side of things. Mr. Alphonso Davies, yes, he's getting back healthy, so I care about that, as Canada versus Trinidad is coming up for Copa America on the line. But the big story is that Real Madrid and Alphonso Davies have reached a verbal agreement for for the left back to join them in 2024 or 2025, reports The Athletic via Sky Sports. Now, I think his contract ends in 2025, so that means as a free agent, if he was a free agent this year, like Mbappe is,
he would have been gone.
He would have been gone.
He would have been gone.
So he pretty much has an agreement in place with Real Madrid. Bayern Munich now have to give a contract offer to
Davies.
Davies. Yeah. Davies. No, I was thinking the team side. To Davies, if he wants to accept. If he rejects it, then it's most likely he should get sold.
He'll probably
because
get sold,
similar to Calgary Flame situation. They don't want to lose him for nothing. At least get some type of transfer compensation out of it. So they have to make a big decision come now. And so as of right now, in my opinion, it's looking like he's joining Real Madrid by 2025, the latest.
What do you think his fee? Because I'm assuming they're going to sell him in the summer.
If they don't agree on a contract, yeah. So
I'm assuming he's getting sold in summer. I'm guessing 50, 60 million just because of the contract issues.
I could see that maybe they give him a contract just for a higher fee.
They're going to try to do that, but
no, to get a higher transfer fee.
Yeah.
If they really want to. But I agree with you. He's one of the best left backs in the world right now. Obviously, pace is insane. That left side will be insane with either if it's him or Mbappe or him or even Mbappe is not official, but or him and Vinicius Jr. So I would say, yeah, 60 has to be fair because clearly
he's been gone for 80, right? Like Bayern Munich would be like I would say 80 million.
Because it's not. This is different from soccer. You're not trading a guy for a rental.
Yeah, no, like it's money.
Yeah.
Right. Like I would assume 80 million is a fair deal. Right? You would say 80 million is a fair deal.
Yes.
Because he is a left back, right? Like position-wise, it's not going to help too much either.
Yeah.
Like
the thing is,
with the contract issue, I could see it go down to 50 just because of the contract.
Because Real Madrid are clearly going to be patient.
Yeah. They did that with Mbappe.
Well, the PSG was stupid to reject it. They were not patient. They did offer 200 million, but
no, it worked out at the end of the day.
Yeah, hindsight, it worked out. But yeah, I think it has to be 50 because again, if he's like, okay, well, I'm not agreeing to no contract with any other team but Real Madrid, it's like the Patrick Kane no trade situation. Like I'm not accepting any trade but to the Rangers when he got traded last year. Same thing in this situation, unless Byron throw him the bag. But is he worth that bag? We'll see. It's a left back at the end of the day.
It is a left back.
So it's not. I guess it's not like every position is important to some extent, but it's not like that key position.
Yeah. Then quick perspective on just through Canadian eyes, we're gonna have a Canadian in Real Madrid.
That too.
The biggest club in the world.
Yeah.
Right? The club that every single person that's associated with soccer knows about is Real Madrid. And we're about to have a Canadian on that.
You got to say Barcelona because Messi. But yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, this is fair.
Yeah.
So that's crazy itself. So like looking at that, like Canadian success-wise, that's just incredible to see because has that ever happened?
Yeah, we got one guy in Serie A for the first time in Tejan.
Yeah.
Buchanan. So yeah. So let's see how that goes. Well, that's a good thing to look at as well.
FA Cup.
Yeah, FA Cup. The quarterfinals are set. It is officially, while I pull this up, well, we'll talk about the first game quickly. The biggest game happens to be Liverpool versus Manchester United.
Yeah.
AKA Liverpool will be a semi-finalist. In my opinion, especially with the way they're playing. The young guys are playing under Klopp, knowing that it's his last year. But the full draw is Manchester United versus Liverpool. Obviously, the big game. Wolves versus Coventry. Chelsea versus Leicester. Man City versus Newcastle. Man City on their quest to...
they just got the big teams to play each other.
Yeah.
And the little teams to play each other.
Yeah, Chelsea.
Yeah, Chelsea.
But yeah, so the big teams are playing each other. The small teams are playing each other. I mean, realistically, Newcastle is ahead of Chelsea. But I guess market-wise, you still got to give Chelsea
yeah,
that
you got to
respect.
give Chelsea credit.
By the way, we dropped a poll on YouTube. Make sure you guys vote. Who do you think is going to win the Premier League? We discussed it in our last episode, right?
Yeah.
Last episode. So make sure you guys check that out. Oh, we forgot to promote this earlier as well. Make sure you guys check out the Alex Adams pod. We talked about the PWHL and the NHL as well. More information end of the pod. But yeah, make sure you guys tune into that. But no, going back to this, obviously I think it's Liverpool, Wolverhampton, Chelsea, and Manchester City, aka depending on the draw.
All the
Manchester City versus Liverpool final.
All the favorites basically going through.
It's in Old Trafford though, if that helps.
That does help, obviously.
Did they not draw?
We drew in Anfield.
Yeah.
Right. It does help.
But we have injuries. And our injuries are worse than Liverpool's injuries.
We suck.
Yeah.
And the reason why our injuries are worse than Liverpool's injuries because Liverpool can survive.
They have an identity.
They know how to play football.
And they have an identity.
They have passion for the game.
They have identity. Simple as that.
They have a coach with hair.
Okay. Moving on, last thing about soccer before we close it out on the soccer side of things. Everton, who were a 10-point EPL deduction, ended up getting 6 now. So they got 4 points back. So they regained 4 points.
It's a big 4 points.
Yeah, because they were in relegation once again. Even they started struggling again. I'm just trying to see where they're at. This is standings. Everton could still launch
They
the
move up
appeal
to
again.
15, I think, right? They were like around
I'll just pull
17.
up the actual
I don't think they were in when we talked about them on the weekend.
When we talked about them, they were 18th.
They were 18th? I swear I saw them at 17.
I saw them at 18. Now they're 15.
Yeah, they're 15 now.
So 4 points from that, they were just outside of relegation before they got these 4 points back.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, Everton.
So
I think they'll stay up.
yeah, they're 5 points clear at the moment.
Because at the end of the day, like we've seen Everton play good as well, right?
Yeah,
yes,
but we haven't watched them late and they've been struggling.
They've been struggling, don't be wrong.
Ever
but
since
like,
we beat them 3-0.
yeah.
But
yeah. But like they've had their moments where they have been good.
yeah.
Like at the end of the day, if there wasn't for these 10 points, like they'll be clear cut safe.
Yeah.
Right. So this is just situation. It is what it is. I don't know how City survived, but yeah.
Every time we got to bring that up.
We got to bring it up every time.
Okay, let's talk NBA very quickly. We're not going to talk about any, like, there's no big news, but the buyout market. So the one thing that we have to note though is March 1 is this Friday specifically is a very special deadline because I need to find exactly what I said.
Special deadline, more important than trade deadline?
Well, NBA terms. It's a special deadline because there's
a contract extension deadline.
yeah, right here. Okay, March 1st, last day for players to be waived and eligible for playoffs. So, for example, Otto Porter is currently on the Utah Jazz. If he wants to be on a Laker, Clipper, or wherever, Warrior, he has to get waived by March 1st in order to be eligible for the playoffs. He could still get waived after and play for them, but he can't be eligible for the playoffs.
Now, wow, yeah.
That's the key thing. So, I don't know when I don't think there's really a deadline to play on the playoff roster. I think there's a deadline to set a roster up. But yeah, in this case, that's big.
Jazz are just dickheads. Like, no, you're not playing the playoffs.
I'm sure it's not.
We're waiving you in March too.
But yeah, no. For me, I hope I think Score predicted Clippers or saying Fit and Warriors fans are obviously clamoring for him, which I agree.
Yeah, because they want a title.
As a Laker fan, listen, if he's healthy, I need him. 3-D, we need that right now.
Otto Porter
at the time right now, we're losing to the Clippers.
Otto Porter was a decent piece for the Warriors when they won. And he contributed a lot.
He's a good player.
Yeah, he just
happened to be injured with you guys.
That's what it was.
Okay.
What about Seth Curry? What did he get waived?
It's his home.
It's Hornets, right?
That's why.
That's not an issue.
When I said his name in the bio market earlier, then after realizing that,
never mind. You got Del Curry is like commentating your games, yeah.
So I think he'll stick it out for the year and then he'll go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Unless he really is like, okay, a team could help. For example, we need a sharpshooter, the Lakers. So that could be a spot.
Imagine if you just, like, is it my brother or is it my dad? Who do I pick at this rate?
Yeah, the fact that he hasn't played with Steph is kind of surprising to me.
Yeah, it is, right?
It's maybe because the fit might, but just coming off the bench being a shooter. I mean, Steph played with his brother-in-law.
Yeah.
Like, why not his brother?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's move on. Let's end off with the NFL. We got some big news, honestly, with the Combine Week going on right now. Tag news. T. Higgins officially been tagged. We already talked about it, I think, not last episode, but a couple of episodes ago. But the big one is, off the bat, the running backs. They're all not being... The 5 main ones are not being tagged.
So you got Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
You got Saquon Barkley.
Yep.
Josh Jacobs.
Yep.
Austin Eckler.
Yep.
And
one more.
Whoever he is.
You mentioned this team earlier.
Pollard. Yeah, Pollard.
So the Giants and Raiders will reportedly try to re-sign them. But again, we had this discussion in the summer heavily when the whole Jonathan Taylor situation was going on about the value of the running back. And clearly, it's shown that...
Nothing's changed.
I think this is honestly good for the running backs because
Yeah, like it's a good thing they're not getting tagged, right?
here's the reason why. It's good for both sides. It's like, okay, well, you want to have long-term money? Go prove it that you could get a long-term money, right? Now, well, let's see if they do. That's it.
Like they control their own destiny. Like at the end of the day, like if I'm the Ravens, I'm calling Derrick Henry.
Todd Gurley, by the way, is younger than
Derrick Henry. Yeah, that's crazy, right? And like if I'm the Ravens, I would throw decent money at Derrick Henry, right? If I'm the freaking Texans, I'm throwing a decent money at like Jacobs or Barkley. At least one of those two guys, huh? And or Eckler, but I'll probably aim more Jacobs or Barkley because they're younger, right? Obviously then you have Eckler who's solid and you have Pollard who's solid. Like at the end of the day, you can't tell me that Barkley and Jacobs being that young can't get like a multi-year deal like how Jonathan Taylor did. I'm not saying Jonathan Taylor money, but like at least term.
It depends. Okay, it depends on what these 5 players think they get, and how much how much can Jonathan Taylor help? Because now it doesn't help that Jonathan Taylor was also injured. Yeah, after he got the contract.
That's true. Okay, so like you're not gonna get Taylor money, right? Taylor's I think the 3rd highest paid or 2nd highest paid, right? You're not getting.
Yeah, I think Kamara might be 2nd.
Yeah, you're not touching McCaffrey. You're not touching Kamara. You're not touching, like, you're barely gonna touch Taylor.
Yeah,
I think Taylor's like around 50 million, right?
Yeah, 14, 15 around.
Yeah, there. Around there. So at max, these guys are gonna get. I think Saquon's could touch like 14 and a half, right? Jacobs could probably touch 14, but barely. Like that's their ceiling.
So yeah, it honestly depends.
But at the same time, like you shouldn't be going less for like 11 either, right?
Yeah, it just depends. Like you can't overinflate your value
as well. Yeah, because at the end of the day, 11 to 14 is your range. It's just how it is now.
Listen, the only guy out of these guys, like none of them made the Super Bowl.
None of them, yeah.
The only elite running back that has made the Super Bowl these last few years, Christian McCaffrey. And is that it?
Christian McCaffrey, yeah.
If you look at it, Joe Mixon, you want to put him there? I don't think he's
Miles Sanders.
Again, not elite. Joe Mixon is the only one you could think of, but even then, like, is he?
Joe Mixon's top 10.
Yeah. Again, what's the thing in common? They did not win. Either.
They didn't win, yeah.
And McCaffrey's a different story. McCaffrey's a beast all around. Not just like he's not just a running back for them. He's a slot receiver for them too, right?
He legit is, yeah.
So, yeah. So at the end of the day,
you want to get quick predictions?
Facts. Pacheco won a Super Bowl.
But what do you want to see? Like, where do you want to see Derrick Henry go? I want to see Derrick Henry on the Ravens.
Yeah, just give him like a downhill running guy with Lamar.
Because like Dobbins been injured, right? Like, I think they should get one of these running backs.
Honestly, wait. Outside of Henry, like all these guys are injury prone guys, except Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
That's the other factor you gotta look at.
Like, if I'm Texans, I'm calling Saquon or Jacobs for sure.
Yeah.
Right? Someone's gonna... Because those two fit the timeline.
Chargers are in on Saquon heavily.
Yeah, Chargers make sense too. Because those guys fit the timeline of, Herbert and Stroud. Right? Like, Jacobs is only 25, I think.
Yeah.
And then obviously Saquon's young. We already know that.
Yeah, no, we'll see. It's one of those like, okay, I'm interested. I'm intrigued. Can you show me what you could get in the open market and prove it to us? Jonathan Taylor, you're just lucky you happen to be drafted by the Indianapolis Colts.
But they at the end of the day, they said themselves. They paid Taylor. They paid...
Ballard said it today.
Yeah, Ballard said it today. That Pittman, no matter what will happen, we will do whatever we have to do to make sure Pittman is on the Week 1 roster for the Indianapolis Colts.
Jonathan Taylor is just lucky he was drafted a Colt because they paid their guys. And it just... you got to be compromised to a certain extent.
Bro, like, if Colts have a good offseason, oh my God. Like, imagine if we just pull off a Snead.
I doubt it. Oh, yeah, that's the news. Other news.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Like, imagine we pull off a Snead.
L'Jarius Snead
if I'm the Lions,
has been asked to been explored a trade.
If I'm the Lions, I'm calling right now. And I'm calling every single day. I might call every single minute.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm the Colts, I would call every single day. Right? Other teams that could... a lot of teams could use them.
Yeah, he specifically said he wants to get paid.
Yeah.
I don't know what's top cornerback money right now. But they're saying that they'll tag him and ask him and then trade him based on that.
And I think he agreed to that too as well. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the Chiefs are going to prioritize Chris Jones.
Yeah,
you have
makes sense.
And there's no choice.
They also waived Marcus Valdes-Scantling today to make $12 million space as well.
As well, yeah, makes sense.
So speaking of the Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid is expected to become the top paid NFL coach. Obviously, well deserved. Nothing much to say. You know how I was just jokingly saying, what? I won't be surprised if he retires just because we saw Belichick and all that. But leaving and Carroll leaving, but then obviously Tomlin ended up staying, and now he's staying. Tomlin is obviously much younger than I think.
Yeah.
But not a surprise. I obviously, if they won it, why not try to three-peat? And yeah, so he will. It's nothing official, like I said, but yeah, congrats, well deserved.
Yeah.
Nothing much to say.
Nothing much to say, really.
Who else could be the highest paid? Really, realistically,
No one.
deserves it?
Like at the end of the day, who has done what Andy Reid has done in this
Mike
last
Tomlin's
few
the
years?
only one.
Right.
No, he hasn't won the Super Bowl lately, but I'm just saying he's the only
Yeah,
guy.
Mike Tomlin's like been there, done that, been here for a long time as well. So he could be one of those guys. But at the end of the day, like Reid's been doing it, right? Especially as of late. Obviously, it does help when you have Mahomes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like Steve Kerr. You get Curry. You have a reputation,
Yeah.
right? At the end of the day, like it's reputation is what gets you the highest paid coach,
Yeah.
right? Like,
And what have you done for me lately?
and yeah, that plays effect to it too, right? Like Kerr's won a championship in
Now,
the last
Monty
2 years.
Williams is an exception to that.
Yeah, that is a big exception.
Okay, last thing to end it off on here. Let's go to college football. I saw these reports a couple of weeks ago. I forgot to mention it, but then they came back up, which is very weird timing because they're supposed to do the 12-team thing this year, this coming year. College football playoff appears to be gaining positive momentum toward establishing a 14-team playoff format beginning in 2026.
So they're expanding even more.
I don't know how I feel about this one.
14 is that, I think 12 is fair.
I thought, honestly, I was thinking 8 just to start off with. Because, first of all,
Yeah.
14 is like, okay, here's the reason why.
But okay, so reason why you might go against 8 is, right, because they probably want to give the top 4 teams a bye type of thing.
I don't even care about
I
that.
don't even know that.
Here's the thing, right?
That doesn't make sense.
I agree with the sense that this is where I agree with some of the reports I saw or some of the analysis I
Yeah.
saw.
It should have been 8.
It should be deserved.
It should
Like, at
be,
this
yeah.
point, you can't gift 14 teams. I get it. This is
14 is too much.
not even just that. I'm fine with 12.
12 is okay.
I still think 12 is okay.
I agree with
you.
you.
You haven't tested 12 yet, and you're already talking about 14.
I agree with you with 8.
I get it from a money standpoint,
Yeah.
right? But I feel like you also need to earn it. Now I get it. The FSU got robbed, right? I don't care if they were gonna get their ass kicked or not. They just got robbed. He took away that opportunity from Mike Norvell and that team to maybe prove some, to do some history.
Yeah.
Right, like TCU did against Michigan last year.
TCU won, right? Like I don't know why people
Yeah,
put TCU in the argument.
I just think it needs to be earned. I at this point now you're saying, okay, 4 seems way too less.
8
8 seems perfect. You do
8's
1v8 and go on. I get it. Some teams might get snubbed. Everyone gets snubbed, and I get
But
it.
how many teams are supposed to get snubbed, right? You do a college rankings of top 25. So if you're doing a 14, more than half of those, like 25 teams are worthy. More than half of those worthy teams are going to be in
I
the
have a question
playoff.
for
That
you.
makes no sense.
I have a question
At being
for
at
you.
14,
I have
right?
a question for you here. How much does this have to do with the nil thing now? Because the NIL, to be exact.
Yeah.
Because it was 4 teams before. So obviously the teams
Didn't get
like
paid.
Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson once upon a time, they got the guys because those are the only teams that would always make the playoff to showcase your skills, right? Now that if you expand this could maybe give you a wide variety of range of players to go. Like now, player doesn't have to go to Bama. They could be like, you know what, Texas is good. I feel like they might be a top 12, top 10
And I'm
team.
going to get paid more.
Not even maybe that too, but like take the NIL a little bit to the side, but like from the college football playoff standpoint, that the players are like, oh, I get to play for this team. Yes, okay, give me a chance. Like Oregon, for example.
Okay, so like it's not even that. Like now, like when you have these news of 12 team and stuff, you could take a chance on like Oregon. You could take a chance on
Exactly.
Texas, right? And also we don't know what Alabama's gonna be now, right?
because
Nick
Saban's
Saban's
gone.
gone.
Yeah.
Clemson hasn't been the same since Trevor Lawrence left.
Yeah.
They haven't. So we could see a change in guard with the top teams, right? I still think Georgia's gonna be there. Ohio State's always the Michigan's. We don't know about Michigan. Yeah, I told you about Harbaugh. So exactly. So there might be even the changing of guard of the top teams. Who could it be this year?
Yeah, and plus there's options, right? Like Deion Sanders might go on a redemption tour this year.
Who knows?
Right?
But yeah, my biggest issue was like you had 25 teams are worthy. 14
Okay,
is
guys
more
at
than
25
half.
are worthy.
Well, they get ranked, right? Like
Yeah, they get ranked.
they're in the conversation,
Yeah.
right? More than half of those make it. That makes no sense at all, right? 12 is less than half.
It's just
Under half.
Just under half.
8 is perfect, just because at the
I
end of
think
the day,
8's perfect.
yeah,
I would have even just went like 8, then test 12 later. You're already talking about 14 when we haven't seen 12, because there's still a chance. Like what I'm saying could be true, but there's also the other side of it is those teams that I said that have maybe the higher money or whatever the case may be, like Obama, could still attract all the good guys and shit on whoever is gonna
the
be
14th seed
whoever the
is.
14th seed is,
Exactly,
or
yeah.
the 10th seed
It might
is.
just be a useless playoff game at this rate.
Exactly, right? I get that argument too, but it could be both sides. Maybe,
But then
maybe players are like, I could be the guy in this team rather than being a number 2.
Yeah, that's true.
On like
But
a wide receiver.
when you look at the flip side, right, as well, if you're facing an Alabama as a 14 seed or something like that, you probably come up with the biggest upset in history.
40. How would that work?
I don't even know how it works, man.
That's gonna be. Let's just say, are they gonna do conferences like the NFL?
Whatever, we'll just say
and go
12.
split
We'll just say
them?
12, right?
Yeah.
Like you upset.
Let's just say it's
you upset a
5
5
versus
seed.
12.
Yeah,
5
you
versus
upset
12,
say Alabama's 5. You're freaking Colorado.
Sure.
You upset the 12. I mean the 5 seed. One of the biggest upsets
True.
in sports
But
history.
at the same time, you also face the risk of
Getting blown out.
getting blown out, which is bigger in college football than it is in NFL, because of the resources you have to attract players.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
Because we've seen like how March Madness is, upset after upset.
Yeah,
But at the end of the day, like
but it's two different sports
it's two different sports. But at the end of the day, we usually do see the best teams in the Final Four.
for college football. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about like for basketball.
And yeah.
Like eventually,
you
like
have
you're not seeing a 16 seed make the Final Four
Yeah, I mean, what was the furthest they made it? Elite 8 at the max.
at the max. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see how that ends up going, but yeah, that's a good discussion to have. But 14 for me seems like it's too much at the moment to talk about. We got to see 12.
We gotta see 12
If
first.
we
Yeah.
see variety of 12, then it's good. Then I don't mind testing a 14.
But that's it.
That's it, yeah. Okay, so as I mentioned, make sure you guys, I forgot to mention it off the bat, make sure you guys check out the Alex Adams podcast. We talk about the PWHL there, the inaugural season, the first ever season, how it has been a success, how we've enjoyed the clips that we've watched. We learned a lot. We hope you guys learned a lot. We also touched on the NHL trade deadline because he covers the Ottawa Senators, so you have names like Vladimir Tarasenko and
Chikrin.
Potentially Jacob Chikrin available for trade, and just other trade. Just we mentioned Jay Gensel, how that would be effective,
And then obviously Calgary.
and Calgary itself. So make sure you guys check that out. Make sure you guys follow Alex. Check out and subscribe to his Behind the Play podcast. Everything is linked down on that podcast, so make sure you guys check that out as well. Outside of that, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Like we always said, we're on the road to 500. Without the support of you guys, we aren't able to get where we are without you guys. So please help us get there. The more you help us, the more we'll help you by dropping more content. We're getting better at this. We hope you guys are enjoying it. Audio listeners, we've neglected you for the last couple of episodes. Thank you guys for downloading, rating, and reviewing. Make sure you guys continue doing that on whatever platform you guys use. As for social media wise, the link tree is down below. Reels, TikToks, YouTube Shorts are always there. So follow. Instagram or TikTok has been going crazy lately. Appreciate that as well. Instagram, pop it up to 200, please. Let's get it. Outside of that, we appreciate you guys once again, and check out our tier list video coming out this Saturday. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.